And welcome back, everyone, to Pokemon Team Creation Series. From Okasha, we have, what is the Pokemon team of Larfleeze, the single orange Avarice Lantern of Greed. Orange Avarice and Greed are the same thing, but yes, the only member of the Lantern Corps of Greed, the Orange Lantern Corps. Now, I don't remember what his race is. It's irrelevant what his race is, really. All that's really relevant to a character like this when we're making a Pokemon team is really his Lantern Corps identity. The Lantern Corps of Greed is unique among the Lantern Corps because there's only ever one member. Because greed, in its very nature, means that everything is for one person. One person has to be the most greedy, most desiring of all of them. So if you were to give out more than one ring, it actually weakens the core because more people have that single powerful resource. Hence why there's really only ever one Orange Lantern. Now, during the War of Light, there was exceptions made. Larfleeze had to basically give a couple orange rings out just to help out against the Black Lanterns. Lex Luthor actually became a Lantern of Avarice. But he is, by and large, the only Avarice Lantern. So, the question is, what are some of the greediest Pokemon we can find here? And right out the gate, I mean, it's in his name, Greedent. It would be, and this would make sense, actually. This would make sense for him to be his starter because Greedent starts as a Squavlet, I can't pronounce his name right. And Larfleeze didn't start out as a Lantern. He was a normal guy. I mean, he was still greedy, but still. So it would make sense they would have just had a normal Mon initially. But as time went on, he got greedier and wanted more powerful Mon on his team. You could make an argument that this guy's greed could be one of those things where he has nothing but legendaries. I wouldn't believe that. What I would believe is, though, that I hate when this happens. That he would have a Golden Go on his team. Now, Golden Go is very interesting because you would think Gimmighoul makes more sense because Gimmighouls are constantly looking for coins to put in their chest. But in actuality, it makes more sense for Golden Go because eventually he would just collect 999 Gimmighoul coins, and it would evolve into Golden Go, which is a golden flying ghost steel type that can fly on a surfboard. It literally makes a surfboard, which is awesome. And it kind of is a good fit because it's also a little bit more, it's a close enough color to him too. Not true orange, but there's some yellowish stuff in there too. But yeah, no, it kind of fits. It can do some more energy attacks like Shadow Ball, Nightshade, things that would be reminiscent of the energy constructs of an Orange Lantern. Then I get it put on. Now, greed is mostly represented in Pokemon in Pokemon that have immense appetites and can't be sustained. Morpeko is one, where if it gets too hungry, it goes into its hangry mode. So I think Morpeko makes sense for that. I don't mind that at all. So it pretty much has to constantly be eating. Raticate, Alolan style, makes sense because it is a big fat crime boss rat that controls the other Raticats around. And it's just constantly eating and very, self-centered and greedy. Makes sense to me. This next one is, I had to stop and think, because this one I'm like, okay, I knew what the last one was going to be. This one kind of came last, but Smeargle. Okay, this one you have to kind of stop and ask the question. It's not a greedy Pokemon. So why? Well, it all comes down to that sketch ability. See, the Orange Lanterns of Greed are about greed, but more than anything, they're capable of stealing the abilities of other Lanterns, just absorbing them into their constructs. The only Lanterns they're not good against are Blue Lanterns, because Blue completely curbs their abilities. But also, their whole Lantern Corps is all of their fallen enemies, which there's no Pokemon that can really do that. But Smeargle basically copying and more or less, quote-unquote, stealing moves from other Pokemon does work with the idea of the Lantern Corps. Now, last but not least, though, I knew any of the Pokemon that literally has just endless void for a stomach. This would be the ace. This is the most powerful one, Guzzlord. It is literally a giant walking stomach that is just completely and utterly incapable of being full. Literally. So that makes it, and it's insanely powerful, comes from another dimension. So this, I think, works. Now, unfortunately, though, this does pose a problem. Because really, when you break it down, you have 2 normal types on, hell, you have 3 normal types on the team, which means that you have more weaknesses than strengths on this team. When you look at the remaining strengths on the team, it's really all that not impressive. You do have a ×4 strength against both psychic and ghost types, but that's it. That's your only type advantage. Whereas weaknesses, you got a ×5 weakness to freaking to fighting. The only one who's not weak is Golden Go because he's immune. Got a ×2 weakness against ground for your electric and your steel type. A ×3 weakness to bug for your 3 dark types. And a ×3 weakness to fairy for your 3 dark types. So, oofa. And I'm going to tell you right now, too. Just going to bury the lead right now. You can't be champion with any region in this team. The farthest you can get to in each region is as such. You can get to all the way up to Bruno in the Elite Four in Kanto. None of the other gyms are really going to give you that big of a problem. But Bruno being a fighting specialist is a serious problem because fighting can literally take down half this team without trying. You literally have 3 normal types that are just going to go down immediately. One's got a quad weakness. Morpekka's also going to be weak. Yeah, it's got electric, but it's not going to do anything. The only mon you have on this team that isn't inherently weak to ground or fighting is Golden Go. And even then, it's not going to necessarily be able to clean sweep the entire team because he's also got the Onyxes that do have attacks that can work. Especially if we're going by the most modern versions of the games, or that region would say either Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, or more likely Fire Red Leaf Green. Which then, they're at, if I remember correctly, I think like the Hitmonchan has Elemental Punches on there. So sadly, it's not good. And even if you could get past them, you're stuck at Lance. You're not beating Lance with this team. Not in a day. Yeah, Guzzlord is strong, but it's mostly just bulk. It's got good attack too, but it's just HP and bulk. And that's can only go so far. So unfortunately, you cannot beat the champion of Kanto. And even if you did get to Blue, you're not going to be able to beat Blue. Pidgeot alone is going to clear Eradicate, Smeargle, and Greedent. And then even if you take down Pidgeot, I mean, he's got the Rhydon to deal with Morpeko and Golden Go. Not to mention, he's just got enough firepower to take down Guzzlord after enough time. So that's no go. With Johto, you kind of stop at Chuck. And this is just due to the fact that, again, fighting's a problem. You don't even have Guzzlord. And even the one mon that you do have a advantage with the fighting with. Poliwrath has water type moves. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Primate does know something other than fighting moves. But yeah, Poliwrath knows something other than water moves. So, yeah. But then again, Morpeko could in theory, take care of Poliwrath. But it's debatable. And then, even if you get past them, I think you're just stuck at Claire. Like, Claire's going to make mincemeat of this team. Again, that Kingdra is a problem. 2 other Dragonites on the team, plus a Gyarados. Again, bulk is great, but bulk only in the low 40s on the Guzzlord, not enough. And it's slow. So there's that. And then there's no way you're beating Lance with 3 Dragonites, not even including the Charizard, which would make mincemeat of the Golden Go. And then just kind of cleave through the rest of this team. And that's not even including Aerodactyl or Gyarados, so that's a no. Honestly, in Hoenn, you would stop at Flannery, because your ace would be Golden Go. Now, Golden Go is unique because you can have Golden Go at the lowest level possible. You could have a level 1 Golden Go. You could. Well, a level 2. You still got to level it up. But you can have a level 2 Golden Go. But it doesn't matter against Fire. At the end, her team you won't have Shadow Ball until level 35. Her team is only in the high 20s, low 30s. So at best, all you got to really work with is Nightshade. That's it. Which is not bad, but as you get farther along, it's not as good. I mean, yeah, if you hypothetically go up against a 100, you'll do a base 100. But, at that point, you have moves that are going to just do more than Nightshade. And I've always liked Nightshade, actually, as a technique. It's just, it kind of loses its punch as you go later on in the series. And so, yeah, otherwise, Morpeko can only do so much. All these other guys can only kind of put up so much of a fight. And Torkoal's just going to end up taking them down pretty hard. Golden Go is not going to last long. So, yeah, and then you're not going to really be able to do anything against frickin' Steven either, even if you did get to him. You have no strength against Steel whatsoever, so you're pretty effed. And then in Sinnoh, you stop at Rorik. Squova, so far you've noticed, I've actually been giving Squovit the ability to win against the first few gyms. Wagner should have no real issue. Sorry, Faulkner. Even Brock, because of the nature of that gym, because it can learn Bite early on, should be okay. Roxanne's a bit of a hit and miss one, but you might be able to do it. But overall, yeah, no. Rorik has 3 Mon, and that freaking Cranidos just hits too hard for just one Squova to do it. Then even if you go against Cynthia, you gotta then move all the way through either Guzzlord or Morpeko just to survive. Mind you, the normal typing will give you somewhat of an advantage against Spiritomb, but also the fact that he's got Sucker Punch on there is no good. The fact that she's got Gastrodon with Earthquake means she can handle the Golden Go. Not to mention Lucario. This is just normal. I'm not even dealing with Platinum here. Not to mention Rose Raid's going to be a problem, and again, Guzzlord's going to get taken down by that Guard Job. It's not good. You couldn't beat Cynthia regardless. You may stop in Standard Black and White with Lenora, just due to the fact that Watchog knows Crunch. And it's probably going to really take down, and you don't have a good move against Watchog for Golden Go. Even if you had Shadow Ball, it's a normal type, so it's immune. So I think you stop in normal Black and White with Lenora, and even if you got past her, you'd stop in both versions against Clay, just due to the fact that you don't have anything strong against Clay. Yeah, your electric types are null and void, and you got a steel and an electric type weak to the ground typing. So that's you're pretty, and neither of the other Mon have a moveset, even with Smeargle, maybe learning a grass or water move along the way, being able to do much because its stats are so low. Even if you could get all the way to both the champions, you would not beat Iris, and you would certainly not beat Alder. The Volcarona alone would cleave through this entire team, literally. Kalos, quite frankly, I don't even know if you get past Viola. But if you could get past Viola, I think you probably stop, no joke, at Grant. Probably. Even if you could get all the way to the champion, Diantha, surprisingly, you could take down if you swapped out the Gradient with the Golden Go, because then all she has to hurt Golden Go with is poison, X Scissor, which is going to resist. So the Holocha would go down, but then you got to deal with the Tyrantrum, which at that point you don't really have. I mean, you have Good as Gold, not Good as Gold. You have the money move. I can't remember that one where you fire gold. So because of the steel typing of that, you could take down the Aurorus and maybe the Tyrantrum, though the Tyrantrum's getting a hit in beforehand. But then the Gudra's bulk is going to be a serious problem. It's probably going to take down a bunch of your Mon before you take it down. And then you still got to deal with Gourgeist, and then you still got to deal with Mega Gardevoir. It's just not happening. In Galar, Kofu is always seems to be the big problem. Golden Go, who normally be an asset, is a weakness in this fight, and otherwise you're pretty screwed because he's still got Centiskorch as ace to take down the Morpeko, and Greedent just isn't enough. And there's no way you're beating Leon. There's just no way. Aegislash, you're going to have to go either into you're going to have to go into one of your dark types or Golden Go. Even if you manage to take down the Aegislash, you're probably losing them on in the process. So let's just say Eradicate goes down, maybe even Smeargle. Then comes out Dragon Ball as his second Mon, and that thing can just cleave the entire team. He flamethrowers the Golden Go. He can just do whatever he wants, Thunderbolts, whatever, to the rest of the team. Flamethrowers, whatever. And then maybe the Guzzlord's bulk can outlast it with things like the Dragon Breath, because they didn't give it Dragon Darts, they gave it Dragon Breath. But even still, it's still getting hit and maybe even paralyzed. And then Haxorus comes out. If it doesn't die, it's taking down that Guzzlord. So no, can't be Galar, and ultimately, no joke, you can't even beat Gita with this team. You wouldn't even beat Katie with this team because that low kick says double kick, and it outspeeds your Squovit. So that's going down. You can't even beat Gita though. Why? She starts with Epathra. You would take out the Greedent, swap in probably with one of your dark types. You trade for a little bit, probably take down the Espathra. The Veluza comes out, which outspeeds any of your dark types, even, I believe, your Guzzlord. So it's taking down the mon that took down that Pathfinder. I'm going to go with Raticate on this. All right, well, it's an electric type. You bring out more Pekko. The Liz is still getting a hit in, regardless. So that goes. But then that eventually goes down. Then comes the Go-Go. The Go-Go would take down the Morpeko, no problem. So you got to make a choice now. Probably go Golden Go at this point. It would resist the Go-Go. Okay, you take that down. And then the one that normally you have a fighting type to deal with, the King Gambit Supreme Overlord ability comes into play. And it's a Steel Dark type. You have no strength against Steel, and you have no strength against Dark on this team. If anything, he's going, and Kowtow Cleave would annihilate that Golden Go. And at that point, then you're kind of screwed. You're kind of screwed. Because you just don't have an answer for that King Gambit. It's too powerful. So, unfortunately, while it's a team that fits Larfleeze, and it's not a team that's worthy of his power, because Larfleeze is far stronger than this. So, yeah, you would imagine a team would be stronger, but remember, we're trying to find the best fit, not necessarily a balanced team, per se. But I digress. Maybe. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.